Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 199. It is the 29th of August, 2018. And we are here with the full crew as we inch closer to episode 200. So we're going to say hello to everyone real quick. And then we're going to make some good announcements today. We got some cool limited time stuff coming up, as well as some things we want to share with you all before we dive into the questions. So real quick, Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Glad to be here. How are you doing?
Can't complain. I'm trying out this fancy new screen in the background. That's not a green screen. I bought one of those, it's like a folding shoji screen thing, so you guys don't have to look at my office futon and whiteboards. So I did it for you guys, not for me. So Hernan, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up? I'm traveling, so connection is not the best, but I'm excited to be here, and yeah, I'm excited for Powerful Live. Right now I'm writing a message on the event, so I'm going to just drop the link over there. If you guys want to join, that's going to be epic.
Nice. Yeah, so if you're watching live, you can check it out. If not, we'll include that in the show notes. And tickets are selling, so if you're thinking about going or you want to know more, now is a very good time to go check that out. We are capping it at 25 people max, so I think we're halfway there, so grab your ticket while you can. Marco, how you doing?
Working on POFU, man. You guys saw it. You know what I'm working on. It never stops. It never stops. Manipulation never stops. Those of you who are not manipulating, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Whoops, sorry, I was muted. I was like, man, strong start to Hump Day Hangouts today, but for real. And that's also the theme of, that's why we're calling it POFU Live, right? That's our live event. And, talking about ourselves as well as, the people who are attending, how we can help each other from, get to that point where you get to choose what you want to do, either with your time, your projects, your clients. So, Bradley, how are you doing, man?
Great, man. Happy to be here. Got a lot of exciting stuff cooking up right now. Gearing up for POFU Live. And I got a couple things that, I'm actually developing specifically for that, and some stuff that I've been developing with, I started talking about in the mastermind a couple of weeks ago, and actually did the newsletter entry for the newsletter that gets mailed out in a week or so, specifically addressing that. And then we had the mastermind webinar Thursday, and I went into it in a little bit more detail, and I've just been neck deep in this, this new process that I'm developing that's just absolutely crushing it for sniping Maps pack rankings, within 24 hours. It's crazy. I'm 3 for 3 in the last month, and I actually just ordered another verified GMB profile now to see if I can be 4 for 4. And if that's the case, and which again, I'm working on a process right now to be able to scale this. Client work is great, but if you can develop your own assets, that's even better. And so that's something I'm working on inside of the mastermind, and I'm really excited about it and looking forward to sharing that at POFU Live.
Nice. Well, if you're just watching this and this is the first time watching, or maybe you've just been to a few, first of all, thanks for checking us out on the Hump Day Hangouts. We're here every Wednesday. And if you haven't grabbed it yet, the battle plan is the best place to start. We get asked a lot, hey, I'm new to Semantic Mastery. I just started watching you guys' videos, or I came across this or that. What should I do first? And the battle plan is the place to start. So there'll be a link below where you can check that out. And then if you're ready to kick things up a notch, we do have the mastermind. And again, the link is there for you to take a look at that. I'm not going to go into the details here, but it's a place to be if you're into local digital marketing and you want to take things up a few notches. Now, one thing we did want to talk about briefly today, this is actually a service of ours that I've used because we haven't actually offered this outside of kind of testing and getting the process set up. And this is keyword research that Marco spearheaded in getting this set up. So Marco, do you want to talk about this real quick and let people know what we're going to be sharing?
Yeah, sure. How this started out is of course, it was an RYS Academy, because we needed to give people an opportunity to have keyword research. You have to know your market. You have to know your niche. You have to know what you're getting into. And so we started doing it Semantic Mastery style. We would do Google Trends as Bradley recommends. And then we would do AdWords, of course, the keyword tool. And then we would do Power Suggest Pro. And we would just come up with thousands of keywords to target. And we could have left it at that because that's fabulous. But then, we said, that's not enough. You know, if we're going to offer something that's keyword research, it needs to be more comprehensive. So we added Uber Suggest, which, you know, that wasn't enough. And so we went into Answer the Public, and that wasn't enough. So we started using the methods taught in Jeffrey Smith's SEO Bootcamp. And by the way, Jeffrey Smith is the best. If you guys don't have SEO Bootcamp, you're missing out. Ultimate SEO Bootcamp is like the ultimate when it comes to going into and exploring your competition, your niche, but the keyword research is still, you know, a little bit short. It's fabulous, but it doesn't include everything that we've talked about. Not only that, we incorporated some of the stuff that's taught in Network Empire's, what is it, Ultimate Keyword Research Tool. And we could have left it at that, right? But we actually go and we classify the keywords, and then we set them up in silos, so that all you have to do is go in and start plugging in the keywords and using them and developing content. The only thing that we will not do is content, of course, because nobody knows the niche better than the person that's working in it, right? We don't know every niche, but we can research every niche and dig up the keywords. And I'm looking at a tab. We end up with, I don't know, like 10 tabs at the class, what we call the classification tab. And I mean, I scroll down thousands and thousands of keywords. It's ridiculous, the amount of keywords that you get. I haven't seen anything that's as comprehensive and all-encompassing as our keyword research. So that's what you get when you order keyword research from us, right? We either do things, we go all the way, we kill it, or we just don't do it. We don't do shit half-assed, man.
And I am I'm just going to say this real quick. So this is something we're going to start offering, through mgyb.co, which is a store where we're going to talk about it a little bit more briefly because we got a few things we want to share with everyone. But this is something, like I said, we haven't offered before. I meant it. I've used it. We're using it for a kind of an internal site we're putting together, as well as some other projects, and we wanted to start offering it. So we're going to just offer this to 3 people. It's going to be $97. And Marco, roughly what's the turnaround time so we can give people kind of a time range, do you think?
It'll be anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Okay,
so done by next week. I would say safely done by next week sometime.
Yeah.
And this is going to be killer for, a bunch of applications. So this is definitely a deal. Obviously we're offering it for $97 right now to 3 people. So I'm going to put that on the page, and when it's gone, it's gone. And then eventually it'll be in the store available for purchase.
That's about half price of what it's actually going to cost.
Get that down there. All right. And then the other awesome thing we wanted to share with everybody was for the GMB verification. So we're offering $25 off of these, and I've got a coupon code I'm going to post. And, I've used the keyword research. I haven't used the GMB verifications. I don't know, Marco or Bradley, do you guys want to tell them anything about this?
Yeah, I just it's funny, but I just ordered my first one today, believe it or not, because I was testing the sniping method that I've been developing, just using PO boxes like I always have, and it's just because old habits die hard. But I actually just placed my first order for GMB verified today, in part because it prevents me, or now I don't have to spend the time to go drive to a post office and fill out the paperwork, pick up the keys, and then drive back a week later after I've requested the verification card to pick it up, which sometimes, probably about 30 or 40% of the time, the card isn't there when I drive back the second time, right? So I got to drive back a third time, and that uses a lot of time. And that's okay. I mean, it's not so bad when it's somewhat local, but, when you got an hour drive one direction to go pick something up and it's not there, that's shitty. And not only that, but what's your time worth, right? And so we have the verified GMB services now, where you can buy them basically, and we'll create it and verify it for you, and it's guaranteed for 60 days. And so Marco and I were talking a couple days ago about this new method that I've been developing, and he was like, "Dude, just use ours." was like, yeah, I guess I could. And so I ordered my first one today. I'm really anxious to see how soon it comes back. So
it'll take 2 to 5 days to come back. It depends on just how difficult the niche is to get verified. If it's easy, sometimes it's overnight. I mean, we do have the express service at an additional cost. You get it back in 24 hours. And so I've ordered them. I mean, I have, I don't know, I don't keep track, but I know that it's over 10, and they're all sticking. They're all working really well. We're actually doing some super secret squirrel stuff to them that we're not ready to share right now until all of the data comes back, until we have proof of concept, of course, and until we can replicate. Right? That's why all of this tofu, this ultimate tofu that I've been talking about, I can't really say, guys, is working really well. We've already tested it. It's in beta testing, and it's just going to get developed out from there. Once we have all the data and we can show you just how much money you can make. I mean, I said it before, right? With RYS Academy Reloaded, we said we were going to turn the SEO world on its ear. We said it with Google My Business Pro. You know, no rankings, no SEO, but you get leads. And now we're going to do it again. We're going to turn the SEO world on its fucking ear. And what I love about this, and what keeps me going, guys, you know, because I'm 55. I just turned 55, right? So every day that I get up, you know, it's like, why are you doing this? Why do you keep doing it? And it's just, I have, I don't know, a magnificent obsession with getting over on Google. That's mine. That's my thing. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do, and I get up every morning with that mindset. Today, I'm going to do something more to get over on Google. And then every day I work on that and more and more. And of course, that often equates into money. Oftentimes, it equates into nothing. It goes in the crapper, but that's what testing is all about, right? So anyway, you know, why am I still doing it at my age after 15 years? Because I love this shit. This is what keeps me going, man. I live for this, man. I live for getting over.
Awesome. You know, I can't top that. So all I'm going to say is go check out this stuff. You know, if you want the GMB verification, you know, that's an awesome service. And then the keyword stuff is going to get rolling. And if you got any projects coming up or anything you're even thinking about, I highly suggest it. It's awesome. It is so complete. And, you know, you get that and then you just start putting stuff together. You can, you know, lay out a site and like that once you get this stuff back, and all sorts of good stuff with it. So anyways, I love it. I think it's a big time saver, but enough of that. Do you guys got anything else, or are we ready to jump into questions?
I think I'm ready. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, now I got to tease this just a little bit more, guys, because I'm telling you, you got to come join the mastermind. Guys, I just want to point out something. Again, this maps sniping method that I'm kind of working out now and developing a process for scaling it. I kind of disclosed on a very high level or conceptual overview of what it is that I'm planning on building to our mastermind members last week. And like I said, I mentioned it 3 for 3 in the last month for getting in the 3-pack with brand new verified GMB listings in under 24 hours. Well, one of them took about 3 days, but so 3 for 3 in under 3 days. And I've just, again, like I said, I'm attempting a 4th, and I just picked up a 5th with using the verification service to our verification service today that I'm going to be testing. And I just want to point this one out. This is just a screenshot from my cell phone, from my phone earlier today, because I get, you know, I set up a call center for my tree service leads, and that's what I've been testing this method out with for this Maps pack sniping. And this is one that I sniped on Thursday. So essentially I registered a PO box, which again, I'm not even going to do that anymore because we have a verification service now where I can buy them, and it saves me all that time from having to go drive and pick up the keys and then drive back and pick up the verification card and all that kind of stuff. It's way better. It's going to save me a ton of time, cost a little bit of money out of pocket, but my time is worth more than that, right? So This is one that I had rented a PO box for, and yet, or on Thursday, the day of the mastermind webinar last week, I verified it. And by the time we had the mastermind webinar, which is at 3:30 p.m., it was already ranking. So like I verified it that morning, it was already ranking. Well, we got a call came through today already for the, you know, because everything goes through my call center for the, at least for the tree service leads, it does. And so this is the lead email that came in today from that one, which is in Orange County, Virginia. So it just goes to show you guys, like I was able to rank a maps listing in under 24 hours and literally just a couple hours from the time that it was verified to the time that it made it into the 3-pack. And within 4 days, I guess, 4 or 5 days, it's already generating calls now, right? These are money-making calls. I get 10% of any closed contracts from this particular contractor. So think about that, guys. Like, I mean, that's just incredible. It cost me a few bucks and a little bit of time, and there you go. I'm already making money. One of the other ones that I had just set up, it was the first one that I had attempted this on. It's in a very small area, so it's not a, it's not a whole lot of traffic or anything as far as website traffic, clicks, and calls. But I've already made money on that one because again, like that particular contractor, he pays me 10% of any closed jobs, and he let me know because I told him I got him another area, and he let me know that we had already closed our first job, and I got paid off of that. I'm already profitable on that one. So just think about that, guys. Like if you're not in the mastermind, you probably right now would be a really good time if you're doing local or lead gen or a combination or a hybrid of both. I highly recommend you come check it out in the mastermind because there's a lot of really good stuff going on in there. Okay, so enough pitching anyways. Sorry, guys. Christopher, I answered your question a little bit further up. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same thing that you're looking for, but there is a really good video program that creates content rather easily. I've used it. I used it like 2 years ago, and it might even been 3 years ago now when it was first launched. It's called Content Samurai. It's by the same makers of what was that? You have to be an old school SEO to know what I'm talking about. It was Keyword Samurai or Keyword
Samurai. Yeah.
What was it called?
I thought it was Keyword Samurai. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Keyword Samurai too, or something like that. Anyways, it was that was an old tool. Like when I first got started in SEO, that was the go-to tool for figuring out like competitive metrics and all that. And so the same developers behind that, I developed Content Samurai, which is their video platform. And again, like it might have even been 3 years ago when it was first launched. I got in and played with it for a bit, and they have continued to develop it and develop it. I know several of our mastermind members, that's their preferred video tool. And so that's the reason why I posted that. Again, I don't know it's going to do exactly what you're asking, but I would check that one out because just like what you mentioned here about Video Traffic X, that was a WordPress plugin, and obviously the developer went out of business. That's what happens, guys, with a lot of these JVZoo offers. A lot of them are, they're fly-by-night product developers that don't withstand the test of time, right? There's not a whole lot of product developers out there that 5 years down the road are still in business. Okay, especially WordPress plugin developers, like unless they're an established developer, it's likely that the support is going to, like, eventually they're going to stop supporting it because the company just goes out of business, right? And so again, that's why I recommend something like Content Samurai that has a strong development platform behind it, and they've been around for years and they continue to develop the tool. So I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, guys, real quick too, I just went over there to check it out, and it's got a 7-day free trial. So no loss there. Go check it out.
There you go. And last thing, guys, just think about it, man. Like I know how tempting it is, guys. I used to be a JVZoo and what they were called Warrior Special Offers, WSOs, back in the day. But like I used to be a junkie. I used to always buy all the new WordPress plugins and all the new tools because they were all push button, like you're going to get rich overnight, and like all that kind of stuff. And I'm a sucker for good marketing. That's why I'm in the marketing industry. And so I would read a sales page, and I always have my credit card in hand by the time I got to the bottom of the sales page. And I would buy all these damn tools. And first of all, that's one way to quickly destroy your business because, well, first of all, you're spending money, right? You're spending revenue. Instead of generating revenue, you're spending revenue. But also you end up spending a lot of time playing with a bunch of these stupid, shitty tools that aren't going to move your business forward at all. And honestly, you don't need most of the stuff. I guarantee probably everybody watching this webinar or listening to this webinar right now has enough tools in their toolbox that they can build a business. They don't need any more shiny objects, right? You should be looking for ways to improve or streamline processes, You should be looking for things that might help make your job a little bit easier, like such as automation, you know, stuff for automating and things like that. But you don't need to go out and buy a shit ton of tools, guys. Trust me, it will only slow your business down or prevent growth. Okay. And if you are going to buy tools, and that's what I was getting at. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a moment. But if you are going to buy tools, try to buy tools from established developers, even though they might be a bit more expensive. There's a reason, because what happens if you go out and buy one of these shitty JVZoo or Warrior Forum or whatever offers that are like, you know, $27 and you spend a lot of time implementing that into your business, developing processes for it. You become familiar with the tool, and now you rely on that tool to perform some specific function in your business. And now that tool goes out of business, or it's not supported, right? Like they stop supporting it or stop development. What happens then? Now you've got to go back, go search for another tool, buy it, go through the learning curve, implement it into your business, develop processes. You have to reorganize all your shit because of a crappy tool that you bought, right? Instead of just spending a little bit more money and getting something from an established developer. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because it's very similar, guys, to like hosting, right? Everybody wants to go out and get, what is it, HostGator, or God forbid, HostGator or GoDaddy or any of these really crappy budget hosts because it's cheap and they think they're saving money. They're being smart. But then your sites don't rank and they go down all the time. And like there's all kinds of issues with that, right? And you're better off spending money on good hosting. So same thing goes with tools. And training. Don't buy shitty training either. You guys have any comments on that before I move on?
No, I think that's, 100% what you need to say. And I feel the same way. And I would only follow up and say that, like you're saying, don't do it because everyone does it. It's just, you got to over time, wean yourself off of that and realize, oh, hey, this monthly recurring fee I'm paying means that they're probably going to support it. Doesn't mean it's going to be a good product. You still got to find that good product. But, looking at it from the point of view of, I want a developer who's invested and making money because I want them to continue, making sure that the product works and works well.
There you go.
Take it from people who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on shiny new objects and on crappy training. You don't need to go through all that. Just find something that works and stick to it, and then just keep getting up every day and doing it, and just create a process that you can repeat, and you're gonna make money.
That's it. Okay, this is Dustin, just because he signed it. Hey, Semantic Boars, maybe that's supposed to be boys. Got business related question. Did you ever hear about legal problems when using the address of VirtualBox or local person to receive the GMB letter? I was wondering because aren't you registering the location for a real business? Well, no. I mean, if you were to, all right, I'm not an attorney, guys. So if I would highly recommend that you consult an attorney if you're concerned about any of this. But the way I look at it is, when you register a business in Google, it's not like registering a company with the state corporation commission or anything. It's not like registering a company with the IRS, right? So it's not an official agency. It's Google, right? It's a search engine. So you can register anything you want there. Now, there are times I've had this happen. I had to have one of my clients actually, the case study for the local GMB Pro course. It's a taxi service. We had to contact Google to have an existing verified listing deleted or taken down because the business owner didn't have access to it. And so we created the new listing, which was also at a new address, a new physical location. We created a new Google My Business listing and then contacted Google support or Google My Business support to tell them what the situation was, that there was an ex-employee that had created and verified the old or the existing GMB profile, and that it was they didn't work for the company anymore and we didn't have access to it. And also the company had moved to a different physical location, same city, but different location. So we needed to update all that. So the reason I'm saying all this is because in order for them to because it was a verified listing that we were asking to have removed and update to a new one, they required corporate documents. So we had to literally submit corporate documents to Google to show that the business indeed exists, and that it's a valid business. It had an LLC, what do they call it, articles of organization or an operating agreement. They also needed to see the updated physical address. So in other words, they had to see corporate documents with the new updated mailing address, right? And so just consider that it's not a legal issue. okay, to register a business in Google. Google might require legal documentation, and if that's the case, then you won't be able to do it unless you have that legal documentation. But when registering your company or business with local agencies, state agencies, or federal agencies, then yes, you're going to have a real valid business. So if you're doing lead gen, guys, here's one of the ways to get around that if you need to. If you're doing lead gen and you're establishing quote unquote fake businesses, right? Or pseudo businesses, as another term for it, generic brands. Okay. If you're setting up like lead gen properties where you're creating a pseudo brand, right? Then what you can do is if you have an entity, a legal entity, a corporate entity. So if you're an LLC or incorporated, whether it's an S Corp, C Corp, whatever, then you can actually register that pseudo entity as a DBA or doing business as. So that essentially it's your corporation. So for example, my corporation is Big Bamboo Marketing LLC, right? And so I have DBAs for several of my lead gen properties, because that way even if Google asked for corporate documents for a lead gen property, I can produce the doing business as certificate from the county. And it cost me, I think, $13 or $14 to register a DBA. And that's all. You just go down your local courthouse and ask for a DBA form wherever your business is registered. You go to that courthouse, wherever like my agency, it's registered in Culpeper. So I go to the Culpeper County Courthouse. I tell them, hey, I need or clerk of the circuit court or whatever. And I tell them that I need a DBA form. I fill it out with the lead gen pseudo business or pseudo brand that I'm putting, that I'm saying, is a business. So that now is Big Bamboo Marketing doing business as. And so that way, if Google ever requires me to verify that corporate documents, all I have to do is submit the DBA and in my operating agreement for my LLC. Does that make sense? So it's not an issue. So that's what I would recommend that you guys do. You don't have to do that all the time, guys. But like, for example, I mean, I've got a ton of lead gen properties out there I don't have DBAs for. I'm not going to lie. But, if in case there was a time where I needed one, like Google required it, then I could always go down and get a DBA and then submit it. Okay. Any comments, guys? Should I move on?
Good to go.
Okay. That was a great question, by the way, Dustin. A really good question. Okay. Support question from Ed Ryan. I purchased GMB Pro the day it came out and I love it. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. He says, in local PR Pro, does Bradley show us specifically how to get three-pack map rankings in surrounding cities, towns using the press release method without getting a new verified GMB listing for the business for the surrounding town? Not specifically, but I talk a lot of, we've talked about that many times in the mastermind. I don't think it's specifically in local PR Pro, but there's a couple things that you could do that I can reveal here. If you wanted to try to rank in like the adjacent areas, it's not always going to be possible, guys. But there are things that you can do to kind of help facilitate that. But it requires, on page, it requires having, basically categories or silo structures or geo posts for the areas that you're trying to get ranked in. I would also recommend that within your GMB profile, since you're doing GMB Pro, that you start using the GMB post, just the way that we teach in the training, with images, with meta tag or geotags for the areas that you're trying to rank in, all that kind of stuff. Try to use those keywords in those posts, right? Then for using press releases specifically, then you could target those locations that you want to rank in your press releases as part of the, the title is incredibly important for press releases. So target the locations that you want to rank in as long as they're adjacent. In the title, make sure that you're linking to the content that is also optimized for that location, whether it's on your website or in your GMB profile or wherever it may be, right? So those are some of the things that you can do. Now, again, if you want some more in-depth training on that, Ed, got to come back to the mastermind, okay? But specifically in Local PR Pro, I don't talk about that because Local PR Pro, the way that I found it, I'm talking about getting 3-pack rankings using press releases for the city that the business is located in. And obviously because of the GMB Pro stuff that we're doing, like personally, I prefer to just get more GMB listings now than trying to rank one listing in multiple locations. It's so easy now, guys. Like whether you're doing PO boxes, which is what I've always done, or now, which is even better, using our verified GMB service. You don't even need to leave your damn house. You can just order it online. It gets done. And now you can set up as many GMB profiles as you want and just literally target an entire region if you want. And I think that's easier. It takes less work than trying to rank one GMB for a wide service area or geographic area. That makes sense. Okay, guys, I like easy. And the thing about it is, if you develop a process, Ed, Ed, if you develop a process for, buying, and that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm developing a process for scaling this method. Okay, so that I can outsource 90 to 95% of it, right? It will require very little effort from me once the process is developed. And when I say it's going to be automated, it's going to be automated to me because I'm going to have virtual assistants doing most of the work. Does that make sense? And so that's why I said it would be better, less work for you to develop a process for building out additional GMBs for, even for one specific business, so that you can expand their service area and what they're generating leads from, right? Develop out a process for that, and that way you can outsource it. And it's, even if you don't outsource it, it's repeatable. If you develop like a checklist and a flow chart on what to do, then it becomes almost second nature. You can do it like it becomes routine, and it'll become a lot easier than trying to rank one listing for a really wide geographic area. At least in my opinion, it is. Okay.
Well, one last thing, Ed. Go to the Facebook group and just say you'd like a webinar on how to extend the business centroid, and we can get into that.
Yep. Yeah, especially if you're in the GMB Pro course, because I know that question's come up a couple of times, and I think Marco, when you did the local unlimited local images and videos webinar, you touched on that briefly.
Yeah, we talked about it, but we can expand on it because it's not that difficult.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. We'll do a follow-up webinar on GMB Pro for that. Kevin's up. What's up, Kevin? I haven't seen you here in a while, man. It's been quite some time since I've seen Kevin post a question. He's been around for a long time. So anyways, hey, guys, how's everyone been? It's been a while. Life gets in the way, Yes, I do. It's good to have you back, buddy. He says, wanted to ask about Serp Space tiered link building for local clients. I'm thinking of adding in on month 3 of a campaign, Serp Space tiered link building to as many as possible of the client's tier 1s links they've accumulated over the years. I see about 4 options for Web 2 contextual and 4 more options for non-contextuals. Plus, this can be all done for 4 tiers. That is a lot of different combinations and price points. What would be the best combination or lack of combination to provide the most juice at the cheapest price, a middle price and a higher price, but not as high as the just max everything out? Okay, I'm not the spam guy anymore, guys. I actually rarely even use it anymore.
Shame on you.
Yeah, well, I don't. It's just I don't use a lot of spam links anymore because I don't need to. We're able to get results now using RYS, local GMB Pro, local PR Pro, and syndication networks. It seems silly to do that. Now, there are certainly times when spam is can help, and I can certainly power up drive stacks and press releases and syndication networks, all of that with spam. But I've been getting results recently without doing it, so I'm not really the big spam guy anymore that I used to be. I would recommend that I can give you a little bit of advice here, but what I would recommend, Kevin, is to repost this question in the SEO tutorials and case studies Semantic Mastery Facebook group, which is the free group, and then tag. You could tag me on it if you want, and I'll tag Dedia, which is our link building guy. He's been with me for at least 5 years, and he's our manager. The guy's a ninja. He's got a full staff that all they do is build links, and so he can answer that question and direct you to specifically what you need. Okay. Now the slight advice that I'll give you, and again, I don't even know if it's accurate. I would still repost this question in that group and get his advice, because his advice is going to be a hell of a lot more current than mine. But what I would say is I always go with contextual links. Anything non-contextual is like kitchen sink spam. And that's kind of stuff that I would keep way, way far away from my money site, like 4 or 5 hops away if I'm going to use it at all. I would stick with Web 2 contextual links for at least 3 tiers before I would do like GSA kitchen sink spam or anything like that. And that, again, that's just because I typically, that's kind of evolved too, because it used to be that we would just do to tier 1 links, we would do contextual links. So your tier 2 links would be contextual Web 2s. And then we would push spam behind that. So your tier 3 links would just be kitchen sink spam. But that's changed because Google is looking further at all, and Marco can comment on this, but this is about distance graph and all that stuff. So it's really important to keep, at least in my opinion, to keep kitchen sink spam further and further away. And so I believe Dedi's recommendation now is for tier 2 and tier 3 that you use contextual web 2s. Marco, you want to comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Dedia has all the answers for you. The guy's been at it for years. He knows exactly what to do and how to do it. He can give you the best recommendation.
Yep.
One thing that I would tell you, since Google is looking out further and further, make sure you put a drive stack in there so that all of your link building goes through the drive stack and it'll come out the other end just pristine, no matter what it is. So even if a set of links turns bad for whatever reason, it won't hurt.
There you go.
That's how good drive stacks are at cleaning up spam.
That's good advice. Thank you. Second question. One more question, if that's okay. Are you still using RSS feed directory submissions and other RSS tactics that have been mentioned before? Tactics seem to come and go so quick. It's hard to know if something that was done 8+ months ago is still valid and worth the time and money to implement today. Yeah, actually, believe it or not, I still think RSS feeds are one of the most underutilized things in SEO. There's a lot of things you can do with RSS feeds that are really powerful. I mean, we obviously syndication networks, they're RSS feed driven, the way that we've always set up the triggers that way. But there's still a lot of other things that you can do. Now, I don't spend a shit ton of time on that stuff anymore, but if you're in a competitive niche where every little push helps, or you need every little push, then absolutely RSS stuff is still valid. And the easiest way to do it, guys, is just collect your money side RSS feed or your Web 2 feeds, or all of them if you want. You can combine them together with the feed splicer and then submit that one super feed to just go to Fiverr and buy and search for RSS feed submits, and you can get a Fiverr gig that will do the work for you, that will submit to like 70 directories and aggregators for you, and they'll send you tips. A lot of times they'll send you back a report, and it'll cost you $5 or $10 or something like that. So what? It's easy. It'll only take you a few seconds, and let them do the work for you. Okay. But yeah, it still works, guys. There's no doubt. And it's funny because I think RSS stuff isn't, it's an old technology. And so a lot of people don't think that it's still valuable, but it certainly is. There's no doubt it is. Okay. Good question. Good to have you back, Kevin. All right. Let's see. He says, hi. First, thanks for answering a question. This SEO shit keeps me never run out of questions. Isn't that the truth? The more you get into it, the more questions come. That's correct. About ifttt networks, is building only one ring, that is the money channel brand ring, enough for sticking the videos on Serp? Well, it can be. I mean, there's a lot of variables there. Typically for video stuff, though, guys, I don't even start syndication networks for videos and for YouTube channels unless I'm going to use at least one full 2-tier ring, right? So you're going to have a branded ring or a tier 1 ring. It doesn't have to be branded, but I recommend that you do. So a branded tier 1 ring, and then you have 3 tier 2 rings, which is the full 2-tier networks. That's if I'm going to start a new channel and a syndication network broadcast. I call it a broadcast network for videos, but a broadcast network for a new YouTube channel or a new project. I always start with at least one full 2-tier network. And that's just, I guess, because I have the resources to do that, guys. If you have the resources, I recommend you do that as well. And typically I end up with usually anywhere between 2 to 5 full 2-tier networks stacked on one YouTube channel if I'm serious about that particular project or campaign, right? So it depends. Like if you can get result, and the only reason I say that, guys, is because I have I don't do so much of it anymore, but for a period for many years there, actually, I did a lot of video broadcasting work for local video production companies, and so I had developed out several kind of like themed syndication networks I had themed YouTube channels. Like one was for Virginia businesses, one was specifically for contractors. I had one for like health and wellness stuff, and they're just big syndication networks that I created for YouTube. The idea is with blog syndication, I always recommend, and I've been recommending this for years, to just stick with a branded syndication network and don't go multi-tiers, because it can create issues, and it kind of creates a little bit of a maintenance nightmare, right? It's a pain in the ass to maintain. But for videos, there's no footprint issues. Like at least it's still to this day, guys, there's no footprint issues with broad, as long as you're using the applets the way that we teach, or you buy the syndication networks from us with the applets already built, then they're going to work fine. I've never had any issues with YouTube videos getting slapped or sandboxed or anything going through syndication networks. But blog content can if you're doing multi-tiers. So just to bring it back to what you're asking, I would recommend you can certainly try it with just one, but if you're not getting the results that you want, then start stacking tier 2 networks on to the tier 1 network, or you can also stack additional tier 1 networks, persona-based networks. That's perfectly fine as well. Okay, that's a good question though. How do you determine if a social website is good to have in a network ring or not? There are over 200 popular social websites. They're all good. If you can get a branded profile on the network or on any one of those social sites, just do it, because you're increasing you're validating your entity more every time you add another branded profile, and especially if you can interlink, right? Even if all you can do is link to one other property that's branded, that's good enough. So guys, that's why in Syndication Academy, we do the update webinars, and we add, not every month, but almost every month, where we add at least one new property. It's not every month, but almost every month we add at least one new property. Whether it's can be syndicated to or not is irrelevant, right? It doesn't matter whether we can syndicate to it or not. It still acts as a citation. If it's about, a real business, it acts as an entity validator, right? Guys, the more places you can get your brand out on the web, the more authority you'll accrue. Okay. Let's see. I would have thought StumbleUpon would be a good social website to include, but you seem to neglect it. No, we've done StumbleUpon. But didn't StumbleUpon go out of business recently or something?
No, they moved to something called mix.com.
Okay.
But you could still use mix.com.
Okay.
I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty sure that it's the same way. You can curate content from around the web. So.
Yep. Okay, cool. Nigel's up. What's up, Nigel? He's always active. He says, you are appreciated for the value you bring. G Hypnosis was awesome. Thanks to you guys and Eric. Yeah, that was a great webinar. Did we ever get a replay available yet? Adam, if Adam's still on. Hello? Okay, Adam.
Sorry, technical issues hitting the mute button. Still working on that, but we'll have some info shortly, I believe.
Okay, good. All right, so yeah, hopefully we'll get the replay out here in a minute or soon, guys, because that was a great webinar. There was obviously an offer at the end of the webinar for. It was funny because the webinar was for a particular method and a product, information product, but the first hour of the webinar was not about the product at all. It was about how to prospect and sell to clients, and it was fabulous. It was really, really good. Eric has really created a great business. I respect him highly anyways, because I've known him since the start of my career. So I already respected the guy, but he's built a really good business, and he's developed his own sales process that it works. And it's funny, but we were talking, my salesman that's working for my agency, and I've been trial and error developing sales processes for months now, and we haven't been very successful. But what we found over what Roberto, because he's the one primarily doing it, right? He's the one talking to the contractors and everything. What he's found over the last several months is essentially he's kind of through trial and error come to the same conclusion that Eric uses for his sales process that he revealed on this webinar in this first hour of the webinar, right? And it's funny because I was like, damn it, I wish I could have had this webinar with you, Eric, like 5 months ago. It could have saved us 4 or 5 months of trial and error, and probably closed a lot of these contractors that have now gone cold because we screwed up the sales process, right? And so anyways, it was at least it was good validation to know that we have, even though it took us, a bunch of trial and error to figure it out, at least it was good validation to know that we're on the right track, right? So thanks for mentioning that, Nigel. It was good to bring that up. Okay, coming up on 4 years of goodness. Yes, we are. He says, any decent spammy Fiverr traffic for testing, or is that a myth that it works with RYS, although likely not recommended at first option? Well, I mean, I've used the Fiverr traffic gigs for getting press releases to stick. I haven't really tested them with drive stacks or anything. Have you, Marco?
No,
Okay.
no, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's if I can log into Fiverr real quick and just give you the one lady that I ordered a whole lot of them. She well, who knows if it's a lady. The profile picture was a lady, but that one, I think that gig got taken down or something. I'm not sure. Just give me 1 second. I think that's one of them. Yeah, see, that one's no longer available. All right, this one is. I've used this guy too. But anyways, you guys can see this is it's niche targeted 2,000 daily visitors for 15 days for $5, right? So this one right here, I'll just grab the URL, whoops, and drop it on the page for you, Nigel. Again, I haven't tried any of these with drive stacks. I have used these types of gigs for getting press releases to stick longer in the SERPs. Like, so for example, if you get a press release, guys, to rank on page 1, you guys probably know that a lot of times press releases, they rank really well for a short period of time, and then they start to slip in the SERPs, right? So I've used these types of gigs to be able to drive traffic to them to get them to stick in the SERPs longer, and it absolutely works. Okay, so I don't know about drive stack stuff, but I can't imagine it would probably hurt, especially since it's drive stack stuff. Good question though. Damn, guys, you posted a whole shit ton of questions all of a sudden because there wasn't much before. Anyone using rotator link for landing pages? And if so, any recommendations? You mean for split testing landing pages? There's a rotator inside ClickFunnels, and that's all I use for landing pages. So if anybody has any recommendations for doing like split testing landing pages or rotator link rotators and stuff like that, plugins or anything like that, let Nigel know, please. Just post on the page here. What strategies are you using with Alignable and LinkedIn to get business leads? Well, I started playing with Alignable, and every now and then I'll take an hour, hour and a half and go in and become really active for an hour. But it's not something I do consistently. It's one of those things I've always had intentions to do consistently, but I never do it consistently. So, you know, every now and then, like I said, I'll go in and spend an hour in there, and I'll be like, wow, there's a lot of opportunity here, you know, and all that. And I'll get all excited. And then, you know, three weeks goes by before I do it again. So I'm not really doing a lot in there. I think there's opportunity, but I haven't had enough time I haven't spent enough time in there to really figure out a process for getting repeatable results. LinkedIn, we spent a lot of time. Well, Roberto, my salesman, spent a lot of time in LinkedIn trying to develop a process for tree service contractors. We realize now that that was probably a really, really shitty industry to try to approach in LinkedIn, just because there's not a lot of contractors in LinkedIn, tree service contractors. And when they are, they're, again, it's not really a platform made for that type of a contractor. We're actually started prospecting just in the last 2 weeks again for like general contractors and remodeling contractors. And so we're going to take what he started to develop for tree service contractors in LinkedIn and apply that to that industry and see if we can get better results. And I believe we will, because those, again, I know I'm painting with a broad brush here, but those type of contractors seem to be a bit more digitally savvy or a bit more sophisticated. So there's more of them on LinkedIn, and they seem to be a bit more engaged on LinkedIn. So in the coming weeks, Nigel, especially, I don't know if you're still in the mastermind or not, but in the coming weeks, as we have more data from that or more results or experience, good, bad, or ugly, I'll be sharing that about the LinkedIn stuff. Okay. Jordan, okay, new client coming on board that sells psychiatric services to skilled nursing care facilities in Ohio, and then expanding. Obviously, the search volume is incredibly low, and there aren't that many decision makers, less than 1,000, but each enlistment is worth about 70,000 per year to them. Wow. Doing everything digital for them: site, social SEO, content, marketing, conferences, collateral, etc. Any creative SEO strategies for this type of highly niched B2B client? Ooh, that's a tough one, Jordan.
Actually, yeah, this is cool. Jordan, I'll have to send you. I listened to a podcast recently, and I can't remember the guy's name. Sorry, I'll have to look it up. But basically, the guy did this, and he did it in one region. I can't remember. It wasn't where you're at. But talking about this and going into the specifics of, obviously, you're generally not, and I'm sure you already understand this, but you're not marketing to the kind of consumer. You're marketing. This is like a family member would be looking for this. So words like mom, dad, and all the associated words like that, and then going into it and potentially, can you offer other than, I'm looking at what you're saying. Can you do any sort of like remarketing? There's a lot of stuff you can do because it's worth so much to them, which obviously you just listed, but also you could maybe open their eyes, and maybe, again, you've already done this, that once they reach a certain amount of, let's say, like it takes 75% booking or rooms filled for them to be profitable, that you become highly profitable to them once you bring them past that point, so that maybe you can get more funds in order to expand some of these activities. So anyways, just some ideas off the top of my head.
It's great. Thanks, Adam. You can tag him on it and find it. That'd be great. All right, cool. What's up, Dan? KD, there we go. Hey guys, what's the best way to handle WordPress security issues and not mess up SEO? I have a client ranked on page 1 who is now under heavy brute force attack. I cranked up the settings on iTheme security. No, guys, personally, there's a couple things I would recommend. Number 1, get a really good host. Liquid Web is fantastic for this kind of stuff, guys. They have their own firewall and all this other stuff. They're really, really good at security over at Liquid Web. Guys, we talk about this. I just mentioned hosting earlier on this webinar. My 2 go-to resources, Liquid Web is hands down my favorite. I also have been recently using WPX hosting for a lot of like one-off WordPress sites, for like testing purposes or for lead gen sites and stuff. I've been using WPX, which seems to be good. Their support is really, really good too. But there's some drawbacks to that where I think Liquid Web is even better. But Liquid Web has some really, really good security features. However, I see that you mentioned down here about Securi. I've got 2 of my clients on Securi actually, and they have the Securi firewall, and they have the malware removal programs and all that stuff. And I got 2 of one of my clients is a pest control company. Actually, it's a tick and mosquito control company. So they do like outdoor pest control, and they have been hacked like at least 8 times in like the last 5 years since they've been working with me. So even after we put their site on Securi, they still have been hacked a couple of times. So, but Securi always goes in, like all you got to do is submit a request to Securi, and they'll go in and find the problem, unhack the site, restore the site, and they'll take care of everything for you. All you have to do is submit a ticket. So again, it's worth it. I think it's like $300 a year or something like that. But in my opinion, it's totally worth it. Or get a really good host like Liquid Web and let them do it. As far as changing the DNS, would that affect rankings? No, not at all. That shouldn't affect rankings at all. In fact, actually changing DNS from a shitty host through something like Securi will likely improve the site. Okay.
Yeah. What I would like to say is, depending on her needs, we have a really neat way where we trap these rogue bots that do these attacks. And if you want to talk about that, I mean, it's not cheap, just so you know, but you can always find me in Facebook, Katie, and we can talk, and then we get set up, and then all of these rogue bots, you can just eliminate, you can trap them and eliminate them, and it's over and done with.
Yep. Bob Lowe, I love that comment. Master manipulation makes your palms hairy. That's funny, Bob. All right, we're almost done, guys. I got to wrap up just a couple of minutes anyways. Get to take my daughter to dinner tonight. So let's see. Our Bacon says, if using a set number of credits in Maps Powerhouse, is it better to use all of them on the embed or split them up between embeds and secondary posts? That's a good question. I prefer doing a split between embeds and secondary posts just because I was mentioning, let's talk about YouTube networks earlier, syndication networks. And I mentioned that I like to use 2-tier networks for YouTube syndication. However, you can stack multiple tier 1 rings onto a channel, right? So to where they're all being triggered directly from the channel instead of being secondary triggers from like a blog in your first tier network. The reason why I like the second 2-tier networks is because I found that the effect lasts longer through two-tier networks. In other words, if I were to take a channel and stack 10 tier 1 networks on the channel, the video is likely going to rank really quickly, but it typically will start. And I haven't tested this now in at least probably 2 years, but about 2 to 3 years ago, I did a lot of testing on this, guys. And I found that multiple tier 1 networks will, the video would rank really quickly, but it would start to slip in the rankings a lot sooner. Whereas if I used multiple tier 2 networks or multi-tiered networks, then the rankings might not rank as quickly, but it would indeed rank over eventually, and it would end up sticking a lot longer. So I've always applied that same methodology to Video Powerhouse and Maps Powerhouse, to where I prefer doing it like the tiers and secondary embeds and or backlinks as well, instead of just doing all tier 1 stuff. So that's going to be my answer, but I haven't tested specifically to see if one's going to perform better than the others. Does anybody else here have any insight on that?
No, I do the same exact thing simply because it adds relevance at the other tiers, coming back to your tier 1.
There you go. Bob Lell, he said he ordered his verified GMB and can't wait to get it back. I'm ready with the website, content, and PR. Boom. There you go, Bob. Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. Riley, will this process improve the position in the pack if you're already there? No. Well, Dan, if you're talking about the GMB sniping, the map sniping that I've been talking about, no, because that's talking about finding locations that you can register a GMB or verify a GMB and like get into the 3-pack within. So far, like I said, I'm 3 for 3 in under 72 hours. So that's it. The method I'm talking about is getting into a 3-pack with a brand new listing. If it's an existing listing, then I would recommend local GMB Pro and local PR Pro. Those are the 2 things that I'm using specifically now. Local PR Pro for getting into the 3-pack, local GMB Pro for generating leads regardless of 3-pack. Does that make sense? The 2 combined are absolutely brutal, guys. There's no way that you can't get results with those 2. And you add a drive stack on top of it, forget about it. Right? Market Samurai. There you go, Walt. Thank you. Thank you, Well, yeah, Market Samurai. That was their keyword research tool that was like the go-to. It was like industry standard for several years. You guys remember that? Like the pink and the green lines and all that, and the chart, like it would create like a spreadsheet with all the different, and it would show like inbound backlinks and like keyword it was crazy. I used to use that thing like daily. Anyways, that's awesome. Thanks, Walt. We're almost done, guys. Let's see. He's doing Pinterest stuff too. Is that what he's doing? That's Pinterest stats, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. I posted my stats on there. I just want people to see what you could do. I mean, the type of traffic that you can actually generate with this thing, which is ridiculous. I know Dan is doing really well, but I mean, this one, the one that I posted, is in the millions now.
Clint. GoDaddy bot security. No shit. Yeah, plan on that sucking soon. Okay. Well, I'm glad I know that now, because I won't recommend it going forward, Clint. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because, yeah, guys, GoDaddy hosting sucks, by the way. So if they bought security, that's probably going to suck too. Clint is right. No doubt. Scott says, still wrestling with a client attempting to get them on board with GMB verification. He already has a verified listing for the suburb and has no traction in the much larger city. He's afraid he will lose the verified listing he already has with Google. Without giving away your processes, would he have a new Google listing for the larger city, or will his current GMB be impacted in any way? Would he have a new Google? Okay, Scott, what I'm going to tell you is, look, and this is, I can't reveal too much, guys. Actually, let me just say this. Okay? What I would do in that case, if you have a client, it's already a client, and you're trying to talk them in to getting a second GMB for another area that they want to generate leads from, because again, it's more difficult to get one listing to rank in multiple areas, right? A wide geographic region. It's harder to do that, in my opinion, than it is to just create a new damn listing for the areas that you want, right? What I would recommend is, if he's already a client, you're already making money, just go register the GMB yourself. Get it, do it yourself, right? Build it with a generic brand, a pseudo brand. And then once the damn thing's ranked, then show them, look what I did. Because look, you can monetize that property, whether it's for that client or another client. It doesn't matter. My point is, why not build that asset? If he's already a client, you know he wants the leads in that areas, but he's scared. Just go create a GMB listing with a pseudo brand, right? It's in the same category, all that shit. Get it set up, get it ranked, and then approach him with it and say, look, I've already got this asset. It's already ranked in the area that you want these leads from. Now you can sign him up for like an increase on a monthly retainer, or you can just sell him the damn leads. In any way, you own that asset now. You can rebrand it for him, or he can turn it down and you can say, that's fine. I'll sell the leads to another person in the same industry, in the same area. Does that make sense? My point is, like, don't try to like pull teeth, the client's teeth. If he's giving you resistance, just go register it yourself, rank the damn thing. Now you've got another asset in your portfolio that you can use to entice him to increase his services with you, his commitment with you. And if he doesn't, who cares? You've got an asset now that you can monetize with another company. Okay. Let's see. Localhost published via FTP to server. I don't know what that means, Micah. I'm sorry. But a premium domain solved the link equity described in a previous discussion instead of using Ali, like Marco mentioned. Like, what do you mean by premium domain, Micah? I don't follow that one either. I don't know what you mean by that, Micah. I apologize, but we're out of time anyways. So if you want to post this question again in the SEO tutorials group, maybe we can comment in on that. Hey, Clint still has Market Samurai installed. I didn't even know if they still. Apparently they do. I think that's what he was saying earlier. I didn't know that tool was still being supported and all that. I haven't seen it in years. Huh. Thanks for GMB. Very helpful. I'll set up. Yep, there you go. And Scott, remember, you can buy it now, and it, like, you know, you don't even have to leave your damn house. So, Scott, you're in the mastermind. Follow the training that I talked about in the newsletter as well. Well, you'll get that in about a week, as well as the last two mastermind webinars I've touched on. It's very specifically how to research the areas to find the best opportunity. Right. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate everybody for sticking around.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
See you all next week.